everybody. I'm going to read a book too.
Yes, sorry about the lighting. I got the silhouette effect again going here. I can never quite get it right, but I'm going to read chapter 2 of Magician's Nephew, and then Elias asked if he could read his book, so that'll be at the end of this recording. Okay?
Yeah. Well, actually, at the end of his story, we're still going to do this recording, then I'm going to read my book. It's a short book, but it's really funny.
What's the name of it?
Waiting is not easy.
Waiting is not easy.
If you can see the words, that it's okay if you can't.
Okay, chapter 2. Digory and his uncle. It was so sudden and so horribly unlike anything that had ever happened to Digory, even in a nightmare. Whoa, that's heavy. That he let out a scream. Instantly, you want to do a scream for us?
Yeah.
Do a scream. That's a pretty good scream. Instantly, Uncle Andrew's hand was over his mouth. None of that, he hissed in Digory's ear. If you start making a noise, your mother will hear it, and you know what a fright might do to her. As Digory said afterward, the horrible meanness of getting at a chap in that way almost made him sick. But of course he didn't scream again. That's better, said Uncle Andrew. Perhaps, hang on, let me read. Your turn comes next. Perhaps, where was it afterwards? Perhaps you couldn't help it. It is a shock when you first see someone vanish. Well, it even gave me a turn when the guinea pig did it the other night. Was that why you yelled? Asked Digory. Oh, you heard that, did you? I hope you haven't been spying on me. No, I haven't, said Digory indignantly. But what happened to Polly? Congratulate me, my dear boy, said Uncle Andrew, rubbing his hands. The little girl's gone, vanished, right out of the world. What have you done to her? Sent her to, well, another place. What do you mean? Asked Digory. Uncle Andrew sat down and said, well, I'll tell you all about it. Have you heard of old Mrs. Leafy? Wasn't she a great aunt or something? Said Digory. Not exactly, said Uncle Andrew. She was my godmother. That's her there on the wall. Disney looked at a faded photograph that showed the face of an old woman in a bonnet, and he could now remember that he had once seen a photo of her with the same face in an old drawer at home in the country. He asked his mother who it was, and his mother seemed not to want to talk about the subject much. It was not at all a very nice face. Digory thought, though, of course, with those early photographs, one could never really tell. Wasn't there something wrong about her, Uncle Andrew? He asked. Well, said Uncle Andrew with a chuckle. I'll do a chuckle. It depends on what you call wrong. People are so narrow-minded. She certainly got very odd in later life. Did very unwise things.
Actually, I dropped my book.
You're not supposed to interrupt me, but go ahead.
Well, when I got up here, Papa, your face actually looks fine in my face.
Let's stay focused on the story. That's why they had to shut her up. Shh. In an asylum, do you mean? Oh, no, said Uncle Andrew in a shocked voice. Nothing of that sort, only in prison. I say, said Digory, what had she done? Ah, the poor woman, said Uncle Andrew. She had been very unwise. There was a good many different things. We needn't go into all that. She was always very kind to me. But look here, what has all this got to do with Polly? I do wish you had all a good time, my boy, said Uncle Andrew. They let old Mrs. LeFay out before she died, and I was one of the very few people whom she would allow to see her in her last illness. She had got to just like ordinary ignorant people, you understand. I do myself, but she and I were interested in the same sort of things. It was only a few days before her death that she told me to go to an old bureau in her house and open a secret drawer and bring her a little box that I would find there. The moment I picked up that box, I could tell by the pricking in my fingers that I held some great secret in my hands. She gave it to me and made me promise that as soon as she was dead, I would burn it unopened with certain ceremonies. That promise I did not keep.
Why?
We're going to find out if you be patient. Remember about waiting?
Maybe because...
No, let's just wait and see what the story says. Well, maybe because what?
Maybe because she unopened because she wants him to burn it.
Okay.
And if he burns it, the thing inside of it will get burned too. But he doesn't want to, and he did not keep that secret.
Okay, let me read the story. Well, then, it was jolly rotten of you, said Digory. Rotten, said Uncle Andrew, with a puzzled look. Oh, I see. You mean that little boys ought to keep their promises. Very true. Most right and proper, I'm sure. And I'm very glad you have been taught to do it. But, of course, you must understand that the rules of that sort... Oh, now we got a lawnmower and an airplane flying over us.
Yeah, that's bad, Mom. Airplanes are big. They do make a lot of noise.
That's the downside of recording outside, is there's all kinds of possible noises.
And look, do you see the do you see that exclamation? It's called "Waiting is not easy."
Waiting is not easy, so you need to wait. Okay, your turn comes at the end when I'm done reading.
Yeah.
However excellent they may be for little boys and servants and women and even people in general, can't possibly be expected to apply to profound students and great thinkers and sages. No, Digory, men like me who possess hidden wisdom are freed from common rules, just as we are cut off from common pleasures. Ours, my boy, is a high and lonely destiny. As he said this, he sighed and looked so grave and noble and mysterious that for a second, only for a second, Digory really thought he was saying something rather fine. But then he remembered the ugly look he'd seen on his uncle's face the moment before Polly had vanished. And all at once he saw through Uncle Andrew's grand words. All it means, he said to himself, is that he thinks he can do anything he likes and get anything he wants. Of course, said Uncle Andrew, I didn't dare to open the box for a long time, for I knew it might contain something highly dangerous.
Maybe.
For my godmother was a very remarkable woman. The truth is, she was one of the last mortals in this country who had fairy blood in her. She said there had been fairy blood. She said that there had been two others in her time. One was a duchess, and the other was a charwoman. In fact, Digory, you are now talking to the last man, possibly, who really had a fairy godmother. There, that'll be something for you to remember when you're an old man yourself.
What? A godmother? That is actually a fairy god? That's crazy.
I bet she was a bad fairy, thought Digory, and added out loud, but what about Polly? How do you harp on that, said Uncle Andrew, as if that's what mattered. My first task, of course, was to study the box itself. It was very ancient, and I knew enough even then to know that it wasn't Greek or Old Egyptian or Babylonian or Hittite or Chinese. It was older than any of those nations. Ah, that was a great day when at last I found out the truth. The box was Atlantean. It came from the lost island of Atlantis. That meant it was centuries older than any of the Stone Age things they dig up in Europe. And it wasn't a rough, crude thing like them either. For in the very dawn of time, Atlantis was already a great city with palaces and temples and learned men. He paused for a moment as if he expected Digory to say something, but Digory was disliking his uncle more every minute, so he said nothing. Meanwhile, he continued, Uncle Andrew, I was learning a good deal in other ways. It wouldn't be proper to explain them to a child. About magic in general. That meant that I came to a fair idea of what sort of things might be in the box. By various tests, I narrowed it down to the possibilities. I had to get to know some devilishly odd people, and go through some very disagreeable experiences. That was what turned my head gray. One doesn't become a magician for nothing. My health broke down in the end, but I got better. And at last I actually knew. He knew.
Knew what?
We don't know. We got to read the book to find out.
Well, what did he say when you're a magician? Something I don't know.
I will continue reading. And you'll continue waiting.
Yep.
Although there was not really the least chance of anyone overhearing them, he leaned forward and almost whispered as he said, "The Atlantean box contained something that had been brought from another world, when our world was only just beginning." "What?" said Digory, who was now interested in spite of himself. "Only dust," said Uncle Andrew. "Very, very fine, dry dust. Not much to look at. Not much to show for a lifetime of toil, you might say. Ah, but when you looked at that dust, I took jolly good care not to touch it, and thought that every grain had once been in another world. I don't mean another planet, you know. They're part of our world, and you could get to them if you went really far enough. But a really other world, another nature, another universe, somewhere you would never reach even if you traveled through the space of this universe forever and ever. A world..."
What?
You like that?
Another world, like, if that was actually real, there could be another world in real life. But just, if there was, well, if Bobby knew if there could be another world, because my mom is really a scientist.
Your mom's a scientist?
Yeah.
This is basically the theory of parallel universes.
Universes?
Parallel universes. Let me continue my reading. If you ever want to read your book, you gotta let me finish.
Okay.
"I know," he went on, "that if you could get to it in the right form, that dust would draw you back to the place it had come from. But the difficulty was to get it in the right form. My earlier experiments were all failures. I tried them on guinea pigs. Some of them died. Some exploded like little bombs."
Oh.
"That was a jolly cruel thing to do," said Digory, who had once had a guinea pig of his own. "How do you keep getting off the point?" said Uncle Andrew. "That's what the creatures were for. I bought them myself. Let me see, where was I? Ah, yes. At last I succeeded in making the rings, the yellow rings. But now a new difficulty arose. I was pretty sure now that a yellow ring would send any creature that touched it into the other place. But what would be the good of that if I couldn't get them back to tell me what they had found there?" "And what about them?" said Digory. "A nice mess they'd be in if they couldn't get back." "You will keep on looking at everything from the wrong point of view, won't you?" said Uncle Andrew with a look of impatience. "Can't you understand that the thing is a great experiment? The whole point of sending anyone into the other place is that I want to find out what it's like. Why didn't you go yourself then?" Digory had hardly ever seen anyone look so surprised and offended as his uncle did at the simple question. "Me? Me?" he exclaimed. "The boy must be mad. A man at my time of life, a man in my state of health, to risk the shock and the dangers of being flung suddenly into a different universe? I never heard anything so preposterous in my life. Do you realize what you're saying? Think what another world means. You might meet anything. Anything. And suppose you sent Polly into it then," said Digory. His cheeks were flaming with anger now. "And all I can say," he added, "even if you are my uncle, is that you behaved like a coward. And sending a girl to a place you're afraid to go to yourself." I'm starting to like Digory more and more.
Why?
Because he's a brave young man and he speaks the truth.
Yeah.
"Silence, sir," said Uncle Andrew, bringing his hand down on the table. "I will not be talked to like that by a little dirty schoolboy. You don't understand. I am a great scholar, the magician, the adept, who's doing the experiment, and of course I need subjects to do it on. Bless my soul, you'll be telling me next that I ought to have asked the guinea pig's permission before I used them. No great wisdom can be reached without sacrifice. But the idea of my going myself is ridiculous. It's like asking a general to fight as a common soldier. Supposing I got killed, what would become of my life's work?" "Oh, do stop jawing," said Digory. "Are you going to bring Polly back or not?" "I was going to tell you, when you so rudely interrupted me," said Uncle Andrew, "that I did at last find a way of doing the return journey. The green rings, the green ones."
Yeah,
Now there's Now there's a hot rod on the turnpike.
They get you back from
The green rings draw you back. But Polly hasn't got a green ring. No, said Uncle Andrew with a cruel smile. What do you think he's going to do?
He might make another yellow ring for him to go there and get the gold yellow ring from her. But then they should share the ring to get back.
So let's see what they do.
Yeah.
Then she can't get back, shouted Digory, and it's exactly the same as if you murdered her. She can get back, said Uncle Andrew, if someone else will go after her wearing a yellow ring himself and taking 2 green rings, one to bring himself back and one to bring her back. That's what you said. You're smart.
Yeah, I'm smart. But I thought they would have 1 ring.
Hold on, let me go.
And then they put both their fingers on it.
Let me finish. And now, of course, Digory saw the trap in which he was caught. And he stared at Uncle Andrew, saying nothing, with his mouth wide open. His cheeks had gone very pale. I hope, said Uncle Andrew presently in a very high and mighty voice, just as if he were a perfect uncle who had given one handsome tip and some good advice. I hope, Digory, that you're not given to showing the white feather. I should be very sorry to think that anyone in our family had not enough honor and chivalry to go to the aid of, a lady in distress. Oh, shut up, said Digory. I told you, I really like Digory. Now, you shouldn't talk to your daddy that way, but he's talking to an evil uncle.
He's evil?
Well, maybe not. Maybe I was hasty. Let's wait and see.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up, said Digory. If you had any honor and all that, you'd be going yourself. All right, I see I've got to go, but you are a beast. I suppose you planned the whole thing so she'd go without knowing it, and I'd have to go after her. Of course, said Uncle Andrew, with his hateful smile. Very well, I'll go, but there's one thing I jolly well mean to say first. I didn't believe in magic till today. I see now it's real. Well, if it is, I suppose all the old fairy tales are more or less true, and you're simply a wicked, cruel magician, like the ones in the stories. Well, I've never heard a story in which people of that sort weren't paid out in the end. And I bet you'll be, and it'll serve you right. Of all the things that Digory had said, this was the first that really went home. Uncle Andrew started, and there came over his face such a look of horror that, beast though he was, you could almost feel sorry for him. But a second later he smoothed it all away and said with a rather forced laugh, Well, I suppose that is a natural thing for a child to think, brought up among women as you have been. Come back here. Remember what the book says? The power of waiting. But a second later he smoothed it all its way. Old wives' tale, huh? I don't think you need to worry about my danger, Digory. Wouldn't it be better to worry about the danger of your little friend? If there are any dangers over there, well, it would be a pity to arrive a moment too late. A lot you care, said Digory, fiercely. But I'm sick of this drawl. What have I got to do? You really must learn to control that temper of yours, my boy, said Uncle Andrew coolly. Otherwise you'll grow up to be just like your Aunt Letty. Now attend to me. He got up and put on a pair of gloves and walked over to the tray that contained the rings. They only work, he said, if they're actually touching your skin. Wearing gloves, I can pick them up, like this, and nothing happens. If you carried one in your pocket, nothing would happen. But of course you'd have to be careful not to put your hand in your pocket and touch it, by accident. The moment you touch a yellow ring, you vanish out of this world. When you're in the other place, I expect, of course this hasn't been tested yet, but I expect that the moment you touch a green ring, you'll vanish out of that world, and, I expect, reappear in this.
That world? That's crazy.
Now, I take these 2 greens and drop them into your right-hand pocket. Remember very carefully which pocket the greens are in. G is for green, R is for right. GR, you see? Which are the first 2 letters of green? One for you and one for the little girl. Now you pick up a yellow one for yourself. I should put it on your finger, if I were you. There'll be less chance of dropping it. Digory had almost picked up the yellow ring when he suddenly checked himself. Look here, he said. What about Mother? Supposing she asks where I am? The sooner you go, the sooner you'll be back, said Uncle Andrew cheerfully. But you don't really know whether I can get back. Uncle Andrew shrugged his shoulders and walked across to the door and unlocked it and threw it open and said, very well then, sit down, close the book, and said, very well then, just go as you please. Go down and have your little dinner. Leave the little girl to be eaten by wild animals or drowned or starved in the other world or lost there for good, if that's what you prefer. It's all the one to me. Perhaps before tea time you'd better drop in on Mrs. Plummer and explain that you'll never see her little girl again because you're afraid to put on a ring. By gum, said Digory, don't I just wish I was big enough to punch you in the head. Then he buttoned up his coat, took a deep breath, and he picked up the ring. Hang on. And he thought then, as he always thought afterward too, that he could not have decently done anything else. The little boy was a hero.
He was.
Chapter 3 will be the world between the wood between the worlds.
My turn.
Your turn. Did you like my story?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Now I'm going to enjoy your story. Okay.
Okay, the first part actually says, waiting is not easy.
How do you know?
Because,
have you ever tried to wait?
Well, yeah.
Yeah?
Gerald.
Uh-huh.
I have a surprise for you.
Yay, what is it?
What is it? The surprise is a surprise.
Oh.
Yeah. I know. I know.
Is it big?
Yes.
I'm reading the elephant's part. Is
it
pretty?
Yes. Wait, can I read this all of it since it's
Turn the page and read all of it.
I can. Can we share it? Yes. I cannot wait. You will have to. What? Wait. What? Why?
Wait. What? Why?
The surprise is not here yet.
Okay. He's giving away spoilers, but he doesn't want to spoil it for you, the viewer. Okay, turn the page.
So I will have to wait.
Wait for it.
Wait for it?
Wait for it. That's a famous phrase.
Yes.
Yes.
Groan!
He's not happy, is he?
Yeah, he said groan, and then and the question mark is
Turn the page.
Oh, well, if I have to wait, I will wait.
Oh, well, if I have to wait, I will wait.
I am waiting.
Tapping his fingers.
No, he's not.
Waiting is not easy, he says, the elephant.
Waiting is not easy.
That's correct. Go over here.
Piggy!
Piggy!
Piggy! I want to see your surprise right now.
So the elephant grabs the pig and says, Piggy, I want to see the surprise right now.
I am sorry, Gerald.
I'm sorry, Gerald.
But we must wait.
We must wait.
That was my part. Groan!
Groan. A big groan. Elephant-sized groan. Oof. He got crushed by the groan.
Yeah, because it just does really funny things, because when they say something like really loud, like the ground, it hits the little thing. Let me show you. This is morning, and then at the end of the story, I'm going to show you the end of it.
Okay, what's it say here?
I am done waiting.
I am done waiting.
I do not think your surprise is worth all this waiting.
I do not think your surprise is worth all this waiting.
Waiting? I will not wait anymore. Okay, well, I will wait
Okay, I guess I'll wait some more.
Well, it doesn't say that.
Yes, it does.
It will be worth it. Grown.
Grown, even bigger grown.
This, and then, and oopsie, and then this is noon.
Okay, turn the page. He yelled it. It's big letters. Piggy!
Piggy! We have waited too long. It's getting dark. It is getting darker. It is getting dark. And then it is getting darker. Soon we will not be able to see each other.
Soon we will not be able to see each other. It's getting dark.
Soon we will not be able to see anything.
Soon we will not be able to see anything.
We have wasted this whole day.
The elephant is in despair and he cries, "We have wasted this whole day."
Well,
Piggy says,
we have waited and waited and waited and waited and waited.
the elephant is frustrated.
Yes. And for what?
For that. You want to say that? Piggy's pointing up at the sky. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
Let's get it up closer. The Milky Way.
The Milky Way.
He had to wait for it.
Yeah.
You want to wait up tonight? I don't know if that's a good idea.
I don't know if that's...
But sometime we'll wait up and watch the Milky Way. Okay? Say goodbye to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Did you like my story? I hope other people on YouTube actually like it too.
If you read it and you liked it, you can put it in the comments below.
But wait, there's more things. This was worth the wait. I know.
The elephant says this was worth the wait, looking up at the
And then the
sky.
Tomorrow morning, I want to show you the sunrise.
So the elephant says, tomorrow morning I want to show you the sunrise.
I cannot wait.
And the piggy says, I cannot wait.
And that says, wow. But
And then a duck shows up and says, wow. Whack.
No, there's not a duck, it's a pigeon.
Pigeon, all right. Nice distinction. Okay, goodbye, AJ, Marcus, Tristan, Caleb, Aaron and Sierra, TT Ruth, TT Jessica, and TT Sarah. Goodbye, all of you. We will come back again next time.
Yes, we will.
Oh, here comes
Bye,
Della.
everybody.
Let's get out of here before Della shows up. She's
Bye,
coming
everybody.
out. Come on, Della.
Bye.
Bye. You want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Who are you saying goodbye to?
Bye.
Goodbye, Caleb.
Bye, Caleb. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Just so you know, if Caleb doesn't know what to say, waiting is not easy. That's what it says. Just so you know.
I tried to fix the vertical flip, but I couldn't figure it out today. I'm going to get someone to help me later. Sorry about that. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.